right. I mean, I think I think this is a perfect transition over to our key matchups for this week. We've got this is big time, right? Like there's stuff on the schedule right now that is immensely meaningful. I mean, we've got, just to name a couple, I'm not going to steal any of the thunder and dive into them just yet, but we've got Pat's Bills.
I knew you were going to name that one first. How did I know?
How did you know? I don't know. Maybe this gave it away. Could be. Broncos Chiefs, right? I mean, that if the Chiefs lose this game, the Broncos are tied for first in that division, regardless of what happens. It's like we were counting the Broncos out, and we were like, they had that hot start, and then they, fumbled 3 in a row, and we were like, the Broncos, who were they thought we were, and now they're ringing off wins again, playing decent football. I mean, not for nothing, they're Melvin Gordon and they're his name's escaping me right now.
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, Javonte Williams, who I was trying to pick up off of waiver wires. Couldn't get him in my league. But then, Cortland Sutton isn't even doing anything after exploding for them in a few games earlier this year. Noah Fant, very talented young tight end. And we're not even counting Jerry Jeudy right now, who's just snagging balls out of the air for Bridgewater. I mean, they are somehow have created this very solid offense. Unexpectedly, I don't think a lot of people put a lot of stock, in what they're able to put together right now. So don't sell the idea of the Broncos actually coming out with a victory, because I mean, their draft pick Surtain is playing out of his mind still too, and they their head coach said this week, they said if draft night came again and we had the opportunity and everybody was on the board everybody fell the same way, and we were still at number 9, we wouldn't change a thing. Surtain would be our guy. I mean, he is legit. He's a talent, and the Broncos are not a joke. They are not the joke that we thought they were. I'll say that. So that's my matchup of the week. It's the Broncos Chiefs. Watch that game.
Yeah, that is actually a really good one. Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football are going to be get your popcorn ready. The Broncos earlier in the year, they started off hot. Then they went freezing cold, got their act together against who else but my Dallas Cowboys. But you're looking at a team that is built to play in the cold. Like during this time of year, they're going to run the ball, power rushing game with Javonte Williams. They're going to sprinkle in some Melvin Gordon. And, Teddy Bridgewater, say what you want about him, dink and dunk. Teddy's going to keep possession of the football. He's not going to turn it over. And you literally have to beat the Denver Broncos, because if you turn it over, you're going to find yourself behind the numbers. So that's going to be a really good game. I want to talk about some of the matchups that you left some meat on the bone for me, right?
I didn't want to clean it all up, man.
I appreciate it. We got to eat over here too. We got to eat over here too, right? A very underrated matchup is the Washington football team versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Washington football team is 5-6, a win, and they can find themselves at 500 and remain in the playoff picture. The Raiders, somebody has to lose. The Raiders just had a big Thanksgiving Day win against the Dallas Cowboys. They're 6-5. They're outside looking in. But between the Chiefs and the Broncos, if the Chiefs win that game and the Raiders win, the Raiders will be above the Broncos and tied with the Chiefs. The Chargers are playing the Bengals. So if the Chargers lose that game, or even if they win, you're looking at a 3-way tie for the division lead. So the Raiders have a lot on the line this game, as do the Washington football team. It's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be a very good game. And then you have the Ravens versus the Steelers. Now, the Steelers are not a team that you look at and feel confident about making the playoffs. But it doesn't matter what the records are when the Steelers and the Ravens play each other. There's barely any touchdowns scored. It's a knockdown, drag-out fight. And this is going to be one of the 4 p.m. games this weekend. It is going to be a great matchup. And earlier in the day, we got some games here with some significance. Earlier in the week, I should say, the Cowboys and the Saints. Right? The 1 p.m. games, not impressed by any of them. Just really not. The Colts could try to beat the Texans to, stay in the playoff picture. The Vikings are going to try to make it to 500 against the Lions. Wouldn't be surprised if the Lions get their first win.
I have that noted. I wanted to take a quick pause because as high as I was on the Vikings earlier in this show, I did note the Lions might see their first victory this week, and here's why. Really quick, Dalvin Cook went out, okay? So they need to take care of this vulnerability. The Lions just came off a devastating, stupid loss on Thanksgiving. They shot themselves in the foot. They beat themselves. There's no Dan Campbell. Good Lord, if you're not trying to lose, you're not hiding it. I mean, you're just not. I can't. That is a coach's job, right? He failed entirely as a coach, getting a victory in that game. So all I got to say is, if they can just kind of make one fewer mistake here and there, maybe they can figure it out, and they'll be at home. So yes, that's my point. I just wanted to say, bold prediction: Detroit victory this week.
I actually like what Dan Campbell is doing. I'll tell you why. I don't think Dan Campbell cares if they finish the season without a win. Dan has learned that this team needs to be he needs the real to surface to the top. And he is putting his team in some aggressive positions. Dan is calling it aggressive. He wants to see who's coming to war with him every Sunday. Results don't matter. And he's learning that about his team. You're going to see in the offseason a big overhaul of Detroit Lions. It's going to be a massive reshaping of the team. And I think they learned a lot about their players this year. And I think they can get their first win. I mean, if they're playing with a lead, I think Dan will be a little bit more conservative, but they haven't really been playing with a lead. He's been trying to inspire this team. And so I think I agree. I don't know. This has a trap game feel for me for the Vikings.
I agree.
But outside of that game, I mean, you got the Eagles and the Jets. The Eagles are going to play in MetLife for the second week in a row. Are they going to get a win? I mean, if the Eagles lose to the Jets, I will be LOLing all over the internet because we have one passionate sports fan, and he's not the only Eagles fan who thought the Eagles were going to run the table. Instead, they got ran in MetLife by the Jason Garrett-less New York Giants. And now they're going against Zach Wilson and the crew who went all the way to Houston, Texas, and came back with a W. And, they're looking to get a win streak going here. This Eagles-Jets game, if you're a diehard football fan, this is an interesting game to you, but it's probably going to be a snooze fest for others who could care less about either one of the teams. But the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints are going to have an impactful Thursday night game. The Cowboys are 7-4. They're in this, they're in the seat of they're winning the division. But if the Cowboys lose to the Saints and the Washington football team actually comes away with a W this week against the Raiders, the football team is only going to be one game behind the Cowboys with 2 games against them on the calendar. This division will actually get very interesting, right? So the Cowboys need to beat the Saints. The Saints, same thing. What'd you say?
That Thursday night game, with the Cowboys, this is probably, in my eyes, this is the biggest game for them on their calendar right now.
Absolutely.
You're confident.
Absolutely the biggest game.
Not because of anything else aside from their confidence will be shot if they lose to the Saints, and then the way they lost to the Raiders, and the way that just the season has unfolded. Zeke hasn't been performing where he should, and Dak gets hurt, comes back. It's just this. this hodgepodge of a season that hasn't been steady, right? There was these feels of like, okay, the Cowboys figured it out. They hit their stride. We got Cooper, we got CD, we got Zeke, we got Dak, we got Schultz. Everybody's clicking right now. Pollard's even sitting in the background, catching balls in the backfield, being a third down back. Like everything seemed to be clicking. Like everything was about to mesh real quick. And then they just like started fumbling a little bit and like tripping over themselves. And it's like they need to get themselves right Thursday. They need to get themselves right.
They do, but more importantly, they need to get healthy. And I'm not talking about injuries. I'm talking about COVID. 8 people in the organization have COVID. It is spreading like wildfire at the wrong time. Head coach Mike McCarthy will not be with the team this Thursday night. Dan Quinn will be serving as the interim head coach, but him and Kellen Moore will be sharing responsibilities. I don't really think that's going to be too detrimental to the team. Cliff Kingsbury had to miss a week with COVID, and the Arizona Cardinals, they kept the ball rolling. If anything, Mike McCarthy is known for going in on 4th and 1. Mike McCarthy will kick a 62-yard field goal if he has to. I think we're going to have a little bit more conservative calls there instead of trusting zero line. But I will say this, Dallas, hey, Cowboys, listen to me, man. I was there. I seen the loss to the Las Vegas Raiders in our stadium. It hurt. We can blame refs. There were some questionable calls, but it doesn't matter. The L is on the table. We need to get a W this week against the Saints. Who's playing quarterback for the Saints? Sean Payton says, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll know more by Sunday. It is either going to be Taysom Hill or Trevor Simeon. The last time Trevor Simeon played against us, he was in Denver, and he looked like John Elway, man. Now, this is a different defense, so we do not need to let that happen again. Taysom Hill has never had a breakout game as a quarterback. People always have breakout games against us. Hey, Cowboys, Taysom Hill better not become the Saints franchise quarterback for the future against us this Thursday. This team is hobbling. This team is hurt. They've got a good defense, but their offense is not a juggernaut. And we need to create turnovers, win this game, because if you don't win this game, the rest of the season is going to have a huge question mark, But let's talk about the Saints. If the Saints win this game, then the Saints are 6-6, and they're finding themselves, in that wild card conversation, between the Falcons, the Vikings, and the Washington football team. All 3 teams are currently 5-6. All 4 teams are currently 5-6 right now. And a win for the New Orleans Saints would be huge. So I do think outside of the Sunday night and Monday night fun, the Thursday night football game, the primetime games are absolutely must-see football this week in the NFL.
So just to recap real quick, don't start Trevor Simeon or do start Taysom Hill. We should start Taysom Hill this week in fantasy.
Man, if the Saints choose to start Taysom Hill, and you're one of those guys that like to roll the dice as it's time to make the playoffs in fantasy football, then you can definitely, if you're a betting person and you start Taysom Hill, the Cowboys have been known to give up some big performances to some nobodies. It's just in their history. It doesn't even matter who the coach is. It's something about playing the Cowboys. People bring it.
It brings out the best. It brings out the best in them.
It's crazy. It's something about it. Then we look silly, but we're getting teams A+ effort every time. Nobody plays the Cowboys and just takes that week off. You're getting their best.